Paranormals podcast would like to thank Twinkle Twinkle Little Store, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming, for sponsoring our show. Hey, good evening, Aaron. How we doing, man?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Oh, not bad. Looking forward to talking with Kelly Shaffer from K2 Paranormal. She's working with K2 Paranormal out in Tennessee, and she's also got a book that just published earlier this year. So should be a good show.
Yeah. Talking to her that little bit before, she seems really interesting, and I'm excited to chat with her. Of course, the last few weeks we've talked about Twinkle at the beginning, and I want to do that again because Patricia and Tim, treat us pretty well, and I love going down there and shopping their store. Again, unfortunately, they have to move out of the Tivoli downtown, and they're going to move into the mall. The Tivoli was such a great building for them to be in, just the energy of it. But things happen. They're looking forward to moving into the mall and doing bigger and better things. Their giveaway this month, when you purchase stuff, you always get entered in their giveaway. It's called the Odyssey. And through Christmas Eve, they're doing 3 times the points. So you get entered more, I'm guessing, when you purchase stuff.
Nice.
And they have all that good stuff down there, all the crystals and the rocks and the amethyst stuff and the jewelry. And gosh, there's just so much in there. Of course, I always talk about the coffee because the Bones coffee. Excuse me. And the Goshen coffee. Go in and see Tim and Patricia before they move. And tell them we sent you. And hopefully they continue to sponsor us when we need them.
Yeah, knowing them, their spot in the mall is going to be really cool. They've got a good way of setting up their spaces. So I think they'll have a pretty cool spot no matter where they go.
Yeah, I stopped in last week and talked to Patricia, and they're going to be next to where the old pet store was. And she has big plans. It was cool to hear what's going to happen.
Good for them. Well, I was looking on their website. They've got services listed on their website too for anybody that's interested. They do crystal bed therapy, 30-minute sessions, and then they do 1-hour oracle card reading sessions there as well, which is pretty cool. So just wanted to let people know about those services.
I was at my massage therapist this week, and she's like, "I'm swapping services with them." She was all excited because of the crystal bed thing. I was
nice.
That's cool. Right on.
Yeah,
bartering's great. We love it.
Yep.
So do want to let everyone know that next Wednesday we will not have a podcast because it's Christmas.
But
the following week we will, January 1st. I'm excited for this one. We will have Natalie Jones, the CEO of Paraflix, on.
That
love
would be
Natalie.
A good one. Yep.
Love Natalie. Spent a week with her on a boat on a cruise. I see Kelly down there shaking her head. Natalie is super awesome.
Yeah, she gave us a shot on Paraflix, and we've been getting episodes up on there and been really enjoying working with her on that. So it'll be fun to talk to her.
Yes, it will. Second one just dropped this past Saturday. The White Face House episode out of Yates Center, Kansas. We had a great time, and everyone could go watch it there.
It was hot.
It was hot.
It's cold. All right. Well, let's bring Kelly in and.
Hey
Kelly. How we doing, Kelly?
I'm doing good. I think I'm going to stay in the green room and just listen. No.
There you go.
But I think I have the bartering record for the year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I bartered marriage services because I'm an officiant for marriage and for investigation fees.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's a good barter.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are you allowed to say where you got to go investigate?
I don't know. I don't know if I have permission to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw that one out there because they're
cool.
very, very dear friends of mine.
Yeah, I don't want to do that then.
Yeah, they run one of the haunted locations out here in kind of East Tennessee-ish.
Man,
East-ish Tennessee.
God, there's so many locations out there.
Yeah.
We need to just go spend a month out in Tennessee and
I feel like we're
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I feel
you
like
go.
we're almost like a Tennessee podcast. We've had so many people out from Tennessee.
Well, heck, you're in the middle of paranormal right here. I mean, you're talking the Civil War, people.
Yep.
It's all over. You take one step out your door and you're walking in somebody's footsteps. I got a soldier in my backyard.
Yeah, everything
And he's
everything
gone
we
out
have
there all
out
the
here is
time.
new by comparison, you know. It's
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually one of the reasons why I moved to Tennessee, because in studying history, my favorite period of time is the Civil War.
oh
So
nice. Yep.
moving here and living here is a dream.
Yeah, I enjoyed. Like we were talking about. I lived out in North Carolina for a while, and just all the places out there to go explore and investigate
yeah.
was just amazing.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you learn about the Civil War, you guys, well, I don't think you're from Tennessee. You went out that
No, I
way.
am not.
Okay. So out here west, I mean, we touch on the Civil War in school, but they don't really go deep. And I had a friend who was from Tennessee, and I mean, they go deep into that back there. So a few years ago, I was lucky enough to go out to Gettysburg. And then I started really reading more and studying more about the Civil War. And yeah, gosh, that whole coast was crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, when you get back east to, or back west where you guys are, see, I was born in Iowa, raised there until I was 9, moved to Oregon, lived there until 99, and then I moved to California and lived there against my will for 20 years. But when I was in Oregon, my biggest history thing was the Oregon Trail, which runs right along with the Civil War time period. So when I moved from Oregon, say again?
And came through Wyoming. We have some great Oregon Trail routes like an hour north of us.
Yep.
I did. What I did was I did the Oregon Trail in reverse, and I called it the Tennessee Trail.
Nice.
So I followed the entire Oregon Trail all the way down into Tennessee.
That would be a cool trip.
It was a very cool trip.
All the stage stops and stuff like that along the way.
Yeah, I got to
that would be
stand in
cool.
those wagon wheel ruts that they
Yep.
have in Nebraska, I think it is. Days blended into each other. But yeah, I got to stand in those wagon wheel ruts, and that has been a childhood dream of mine to
cool.
do that. So it was just an awesome trip.
Yeah, we do have that, and we got the Pony Express stations out.
Pony Express, yeah.
Got a big one out west in western Wyoming in the town of Point of Rocks. That one's pretty cool to go explore, and there's supposedly I guess a legend of a hidden treasure out there as well. That
where is there not treasure hidden?
Right,
somewhere?
I know.
It's
That's
not
one good
my
thing about the West.
backyard.
Yeah, right. I think we need to start asking that in every EVP in Estes that we do. Where's the gold hidden?
Where'd you
We're
hide
bound
it?
to get one, right?
Gives treasure hunting a whole new meaning.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Makes it a little funner too. We did the Forest Fen treasure for a while, hunting for that. Me and my family and my parents, spent a good amount of time looking for that. So yeah, a lot of good memories treasure hunting there too. So
Yeah. That's one thing I want to do one of these days. But it's probably just going to be as frustrating as ghosts
Yep.
are. So.
Oh, it is. It totally is. So you moved out to Tennessee, and then you founded K2 Paranormal Research, right?
No. K2's been around since 2010, and I was hunting back in California, Nevada, and around in there. Did some work for the city of Eureka, Nevada, doing some research on a couple of their buildings. They had one ghost that, and it's a story in the book. It has one ghost that he moves between the buildings. And they're like, whoa, we've never seen this before. We have never seen the same ghost in multiple buildings.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And turned out he owned every single one of them.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
my research team, my research brought that up to light.
See, I like that. That's what, when Way Out West does an investigation, we always try to, find a historical, link to the property and the spirits that are there as well.
You have to. The paranormal runs hand in hand with history.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
yeah,
I tell you, there's like no better feeling than, you get like an EVP, doesn't quite make sense, and then you start doing your research and just everything kind of falls into place. It's like, oh my gosh, this is being referenced from 1812, or something
Yeah.
like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah. The validation, when you get validation on an investigation, it is just outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to start editing our next episode, and the validation that is in this episode is going to blow people away. It's so crazy. Yeah. It's going to be one for them to watch.
Yep. And this was one that, we had done a little research. So when we got that validation, it was kind of like we all just stopped and looked at each other for a minute. It's like, no, there's no way that just came through. Oh, it's so cool.
And it goes back to 1886. Yeah.
Oh, that's even better.
And I mean, we have documentation. It'll be neat.
That is so awesome. Yeah. My most recent validation was with a business client, and I didn't know about this when I went in, or I had forgotten about it. I can't remember. I think I probably heard it in passing, but didn't even think about it when I was there. When I lay out my cat balls, I always lay my cat balls out in a triangle and put a camera on them and left the area. Went back to go collect my cat balls, and one cat ball was missing. I'm like, okay, where'd that go? So you're looking around, you're looking underneath everything, and the cat ball's not going to go far.
Yeah.
And it's not there. It's plain and simple, not there. So I say to the spirits, I said, look, I love my cat ball, and I'm really glad that you like my cat ball, but I'd kind of like to have my cat ball back. So if you could bring the cat ball back up to the front when you're done playing with it so that I can put it in my boxes and take it home, I'd really appreciate it. So we hunted for the rest of the night, and then it came time to put up the equipment, and there's a cat ball sitting beside my equipment boxes.
Oh, wow.
So I told the store owner, and she says, oh my God, you just verified that for us. And I'm like, what? She says, it's a consignment store. Like, it has little vendors in it and all that kind of stuff, like a thrift store, little tiny booths and stuff like that. People that own their booths would come up to her and say, hey, this item's not on my sales sheet, but it's not in my booth either. Where is it? And come to find out, it was in another booth.
Wow.
So certainly a customer could have done that, but this is something that's been going on for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And then we were actually able to make 2 verifications for her, 2 validations. The other one was one of our investigators, our skeptic, heard the front doorbell, came out to the front of the door to see, okay, who came in? Nobody came in, door's still locked. And he's like, okay. And that was one of the claims, that the doorbell would go off, but only one person heard it. And it's not on audio.
So did you get video of the cat ball disappearing, or?
We did have video of the cat ball area. For some reason, it's completely unusable.
Yeah, imagine that. We've had that before. Yeah. We had.
I sent it off. I gave it to one of the guys to look at, and he says, Kel, this is all dark. I can't do this. I can't. I said, excuse me, what? He says, yeah, it's dark. Okie dokies. We're done.
All right. Yeah, we had a investigation. It was actually our first episode on Paraflix, where we had 2 cameras, 2 audio recorders set up in a room, and everything within, what was it, Aaron, 5 minutes of each other malfunctioned.
Yeah.
But it was almost like, with the timestamps, it was almost like it went device to device and shut it all down. I had to use
it started at one end of the room.
Yeah.
It's just like 2.5 minutes, and it started at one end of the room, shut off a recorder, a camera, and then went to the other end of the room and shut off a recorder.
It's like it's pushing the buttons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had to use like forensic software to recover the files on the video camera, but it only recorded up until it shut off, obviously. And then, so it's definitely interesting when they play havoc
when they decide that they want to play with our equipment.
Yeah
It would be cool, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, I like it when they play with my equipment. It makes things
crazy.
Tell
us a little more about K2. How many
yeah,
members
well,
and
I
what
kind
do
of
you
left
guys?
that one, didn't I?
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, it's called Squirrel. Yeah, K2 was formed after my daughter wanted to go ghost hunting. Well, we'd been watching the ghost shows for a long time, and she's her 18th birthday rolled up, and now she's old enough to go, so she wanted to go ghost hunting. And I said, "Great, I'll go with you." So we went out and had a great time investigating with Amy Bruni, and my daughter got touched. I got a really nice EVP, bunch of other things. But after that, I'm like, I really like doing this. I really want to have an investigation. I really wanted to have a team to do this. So her name is Kayla and my name is Kelly. So that is why you have K2, but that actually plays really nice with the EMF detector.
Yep.
But the K2 is my daughter's name and my name. So
Oh, that's cool.
She no longer hunts. She got touched way too many times and said, "Nope, I'm out."
I can understand that.
I get touched. It's like, "Ooh, can you move down a little bit?"
Right? Lower back's been bugging me. Maybe that's what we should ask you, Aaron.
I got an itch right over here. Can you get it?
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that. I actually took my kids on an investigation last weekend. And we actually had 5 rocks thrown at us.
Nice.
The first couple were like, okay, maybe they fell off the wall because it's like an old stone wall. And then I got hit with one. I was kind of sitting in the middle of the room, and I had one hit my foot and bounce off. So it's
wow.
okay, that didn't come from the wall. And then we asked if it could do it just one more time for us. And I don't know if it bugged it or what, but a decent sized rock, about marble size, hit the wooden wall right in front of us pretty hard. So we decided to, all right, we'll stop asking you to do that now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they can manipulate things, that's just incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
I have a new partner actually with me when I go out, and hopefully she can go out with people. My dog.
Nice. Yeah.
There was one investigation we were going to do. In fact, it's the location that I bartered for investigation fees on. I had to take her one day. I didn't have anybody to watch her, and I was going to be gone for a very long time. And so I just brought her with me, and it was hot out, so she couldn't stay in the car. So we took her into the location, and she just ended up following us around. And the spirits started talking to her.
Oh, wow.
We had somebody in an Estes session, and I was asking questions, and all I was hearing was pretty dog, pet the dog,
like the dog, huh?
love the dog. And then I went, okay, what's the dog's name? Diamond. What's my dog's nickname? Di. What color is my dog? White. What's her second color? And they stopped for a little bit and they thought about it for a while, and they said gold. And I'm like, gold? And I looked down, and sure enough, in the light of the flashlight, it looked gold. And it's normally like a brown color.
Okay.
I was just like over the moon with that one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's, what do you say to that, right? Like,
well, yeah,
you get so many confirming answers.
You have people that say that Estes sessions are nothing. They said that the voice, and I'll go with them on this, because I was on the fence about spirit boxes and everything that's like that for a very long time. And I will say that once you have a spirit session, an Estes session that is true, oh yeah, you'll never again be playing around with those sessions that have nobody there.
Yeah.
You get the ones, they're responsive, they're intelligent, they know what's going on, they're interactive with their surroundings. It's just outstanding. Outstanding.
Yep. Yeah, for me with the spirit box and Estes, it kind of clicked once I did one and started getting stuff over multiple sweeps, right? Because like every sweep is, I think, 1 kilohertz. And, so once you realize you're getting responses over what would be many radio stations, and the odds that, that phrase would be perfectly synced up between, 3 to 5 radio stations, it's just, very minuscule. once you kind of make that connection, and yeah, that makes it really cool.
And I like that people are now testing testing the equipment out and starting to learn how to actually use it and recognize when you have a true session and not.
Yep.
I'm the same way with the SLS camera, because the SLS has a tendency to have pareidolia. So I had somebody on one of my beginner tours with Kelly's Haunted Adventure, and she had her little phone with the SLS on it. And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to talk to her about it anymore, but she got something. And I'm like, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to go way out there. Can you track it? I want you to go over here. Can you track it?
Yep.
I want you to go way over there. Can you still see it? So I sent her to about 10 different locations, and she still could track that figure, the exact same figure. And so that killed the pareidolia right there.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
that was the first SLS session that I'd ever seen that was probably a true one.
Yeah, I like SLS. I've been playing with some of the apps. We've been slowly testing those, and and one reason I do like the apps, there's a lot of things that people bring up good points, right? Like it can voice recognition using some sort of artificial intelligence to determine if you're asking a question, or I saw someone the other day just post an article about apps using GPS location of your device to ask relevant questions for the
But
area that
really, I
you're
mean,
in, or give relevant answers.
who's going to go to the effort to program that in?
Right. Just
You
for
got
like
to
a
think
$2 or
about that.
$3 app. Yep.
Yeah, an app programmer is not going to go to that depth.
Yep.
They're going to have a dictionary in that thing, and that's about it.
Exactly.
They're not going to think this out with how can we F around with them.
Right. And one thing I like is I run everything on iOS, so iPads, iPhones, and with that, the permissions are all very granular, right? You kill permissions to your microphone, kill permissions to location, and run it as a bare app. And we've gotten some pretty cool results with it. I'm still, I'm not willing to, put myself out there and say yes, these are
No.
fully legitimate.
Everything you have to take with a grain of salt, and you have to look at it from a critical mind.
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely.
is this actually true or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it goes back. Yeah. It goes back to we have all these devices, but nothing tells you there's a ghost. Nothing tells you there's a spirit.
Yeah.
It tells you environmental changes. That's it.
Yep.
So.
And it's those environmental changes that we're looking to see if something happens. I mean, the one that the ghost that, well, it wasn't I don't know what it was. The entity that appeared to me, there were no atmospheric changes. There was nothing.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yeah. And we've got a location where, upstairs, we won't get any sort of like environmental changes, right? No cold spots, any of that. But then you go downstairs, and that's primarily what it does. Like you can feel the room get heavy. You can feel it get colder. Somehow you're in a room with no windows and the room gets darker. Like how does that happen? Right? Like
that's fun.
That's the craziest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Am I having a brain tumor?
Right?
Am I having a stroke? Why is that room dark?
Yep. It's like, yeah, shouldn't be changing. Dark is dark, right? Like,
right.
Diamond. And she's off boofing in darkness.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you're recently published author.
Recently published author, yeah.
Yeah, you want to tell us
I have this baby right here.
There we go. That's it. The Paranormal Pages.
This is my baby. This is my first one. Yeah, it was published on February 14th, 2024.
Valentine's Day book.
Valentine's Day, all 2s and 4s.
Recommended for a gift for both parties.
Oh,
you should both get
it's
one.
readable from like 8 years old on up.
See, there you go. Yep.
There's some stories your mom and dad might have you skip, but they're a little intense. Like you might want to skip over the one where I go to Oregon and have an awakening session.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah. That was when I met my first spirit guide, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a little intense.
So were you going for like an OBE, or what were you doing during that
I
session?
had gone up there to see family and friends and to take some time off and just pedal around and go to a conference, a paranormal conference. And on the way back, I didn't want to come home. And there's a lot of reasons why I didn't want to come home, but it was pretty serious. And I had decided that, and I'm always completely open about this. I decided that I was going to off myself.
Okay.
And the way I was going to do it is I was just going to walk out into the ocean and disappear. So I was getting ready to get out of bed to go start walking. I mean, I saw the whole thing in my head. I was walking out to the ocean and it was all planned out, done deal. And all of a sudden, the only thing that I can describe her as is a angel. Said, you don't want to do that. Look at everything you've seen on this trip. Look at all the things you've learned. Look at all the things that you've done. You don't want to do that.
Yep.
And she stayed with me until I got back to California.
Really?
And come to find out later on, she told me that she was my mother from another lifetime. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it was good.
Yeah. One of the darkest parts of your life, and this thing,
Yeah.
Shows up, and
my mom comes and saves me.
Yep. Yep.
It was great. Yeah. But that was a good trip. That was a very interesting trip. There is a lot that I learned on that. And it's probably what started my entire drive to be in the paranormal and be completely in the I mean, I'm immersed. I can't leave. There's no way this is going to stop.
Yeah. Well, how can you after something like that, right?
After all, I mean, and then the entity up at Randolph, and just there's too much.
So the Randolph entity, that was the harbinger of the.
That was the
okay.
fire in California. That
okay.
I lost my home in the Tubbs fire.
Oh, that's horrible.
So it's actually I was saying this to people from the moment that happened, and I said the blessings are going to be the blessings are going to be greater than the loss. And that's pretty much where it went. But right up to the fire, it started about, I want to say it started about 3 weeks before the fire. My bedroom was in the upstairs of the house, and I opened up the windows every morning, and there was a woman standing down on the road, standing off, just pointing and looking at me, pointing and looking. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're there. And I was going to put the story in the book, but I went to go do some research on who the person might be so that I could have more of a story and more, flesh it out a little bit.
Right.
Come to find out, and I'd known this I started studying this about a month or so before the fire, maybe a little bit longer. But there was a cult up there that was running around the hills back in the 1880s, 1870s, 1880s, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
And one of the granddaughters of the cult leader had been vowed to the co-cult leader, the cult co-leader, in marriage. She was 16 years old. She wasn't even 16 years old. She was still 15.
Yeah, one of those weird things the cults always seem to do is young girls,
her marry
right?
him. Yeah. And he ended up killing her.
Oh God.
And her body was buried before anybody could even take a look at it.
Oh, I'm sure.
They buried it instantly. And I have a feeling that she was the one there on the road. And I have a feeling that she wasn't telling me about the fire, although the fire did come from that direction. But it also came from the back side of the house too. My house got hit like this.
No.
I think she was telling me my grave's out there. I'm out there. You need to find me.
Right.
So
was
I
she
know
wearing...
where her grave is, but where she died and where the story is, she was pointing me down there. She says, you got to find it. And so I was on the phone talking with JD Hill about it when I was getting ready to write the story. And I said, Jay, I can't write the story. I said, she wants her own story. She doesn't want to be in this book. She wants her own story.
Right.
So I'm researching her and I'm going to write her story. I'm trying to find out what happened to her in a certain period of time from when she moved from Montana to California. I don't know what happened. I don't know when that happened. And the records that I need got lost in that huge fire that destroyed a bunch of census records. So I may find out. I may not find out. I don't know.
So, yeah. So you look out the window, you see this teenage girl standing on the road pointing out in a direction. Was she wearing period clothes? Or...
Yep, wearing period clothes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, like you said, she definitely deserves more than, like a chapter.
She does.
Chapter in a book.
Especially when you read it, and during that time period, they would report on the court proceedings. And so I have a play-by-play of the court proceedings, and it's not matching up. They killed her.
Wow.
They go back on their story. They fill it in with something else. And they killed her. That belief is firm for me.
So do you plan on going back to that area, go out in the field and, look for the burial site? Or
I know where she's buried. She was buried in a regular cemetery, but where she was killed, that was the other thing.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Where she was killed and where it happened and all that kind of stuff. There's something about that area that she wanted me to take a look at.
She wants to make known.
Will I go back? It's California.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Enough said.
Yep.
I have enough problems going to Nashville. It gives me flashbacks to California traffic.
Well, and then everything's private property out there too, and so it may be a bit difficult to even get to that spot, right?
Oh, it's not going to be hard at all. It won't be difficult to get up there at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just I don't like California, and I have no desire to see my ex-husband.
Gotcha. Yep, fair enough.
None.
So, all right. So sorry, I sidetracked us, but I was really
interested
to hear that story. So your book came out Valentine's Day of this year. Where can we find it at?
It's on Amazon. It's available as a Kindle. It's also available as a hardback or a softback. There's 20, and if you hold on to it, I'll sign it for you for free.
Sweet.
Next time I see you.
Sounds good.
But it's 24 stories of my adventures and encounters in the paranormal, and every single story is true. They've been dramatized a little bit so that they're easier to read and more entertaining, but everything that happened in the story happened. So
awesome.
Nice.
And the next one, I've got the next book planned, and right now I'm sitting on 30 stories.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So,
it's been a lot.
So this was your first book you wrote, correct?
First book, yeah.
How was that going from kind of, doing the paranormal investigator stuff to writing a book about it?
I've been a writer all my life. The minute I could pick up a pencil, I was writing, and my dad was reading. And my dad read everything I wrote. I've got one of my manuscripts where he made his little notes in the margin. It was awesome.
That's cool.
But I've always known that there was a book in me. And I sat down and I started trying to write, but I would only get to 2.5 pages. Every single attempt I made, 2.5 pages done. So I called up my friend, who's also our resident skeptic, Jim Corley, and I said, hey, I can't do this. He's like, yeah, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. He says, what's wrong? And I said, I can't get past 2.5 pages. I can't see this. I can't. He's like, why don't you take all your adventures in the paranormal and put them in a book? I'm like, you mean all short stories? He's like, yeah. And the minute that happened, light bulb goes off, and I'm typing away like a crazy woman.
Nice.
And the book was done in 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So, and then I'm pretty sure the next one's going to go just as fast because they're all short stories. All I have to do is sit down, write a story. It takes, just hardly any time to write them down. So.
Well, and
Nice.
that's got to be what's nice about I think the nonfiction part of it, right? Is that
Right. The
you're
nonfiction, well, you have to verify all your facts. Like I went in and I re-verified where these locations were, what they were doing, what they were known for. I re-verified my memory to make sure that I was putting down the right stuff. Because I have vivid memories of every single one of the events in there. So you still have to verify all that with a nonfiction book, but it just whipped right out because the stories they're all real. I just had to write from my experience.
yep.
Working on the fiction one though is a little bit more difficult. I do have a fiction going right now that I don't know if it's going to have any paranormal in it or not. It's a murder story that's based on fact, but
Okay.
contrived to where there are no physical facts of this. It's all conjecture from the information that's been given. So I'm thinking, okay, let's try to see if we can write this. And amazingly, the story keeps coming to me. I'll sit down and
Nice.
I'll write a chapter out and work on it for a little bit, and then I'll go away from it and I'll come back and I'll write it out again. So it's something that's always been in me, the writing. And to have a book published, that was childhood dream too.
Yeah, that's
And then
wonderful. Well,
last year I got that
congratulations, because
article
that's a
done.
big feat. That's
Yeah.
a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
I've
It
always
was
I've always been a writer as well.
oh
I kind of feel
good.
the same. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I don't know. I look at some of these bigger fiction stories, right? And you see these pictures that authors put up of the things they have to do to keep track of their characters, right? Some of these stories have 10 or 15 characters, and tracking the arc, of each one. You see all the
My book.
post-its and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, I don't think I could do it. Like, keeping track of
Yeah.
that many individual stories that you're coming up with at one time. So maybe that's what I need
Well,
to
it's
look
kind of
at as
like for me, it's kind
nonfiction
of like
too.
reverse research. Because I'll sit there and I'll be typing the story out, and then it's like, ooh, I got to note this down. So Mark rides a bike. Mark rides a bike all over town. That's why he didn't have a car to go to the party. It's like it's like little things like that you got to have written down so you can go back and now when did she do that? And
Yeah.
yeah, but writing a big book's just the same as writing a little book because you just write pieces to it and
Bunch
then
of
you put the pieces
pieces.
together. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's a good way
writing
to look at it.
pieces to the book and then I'm going to put them together.
Nice. Well, I can tell you, I'll be buying the Kindle version at least of your book probably tonight.
Oh, cool! Thanks.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Tell me
Gotta
what.
check
Yeah,
it
I'll head
out.
over to Amazon and
Leave a review, please.
Oh, will do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so
My
hard to
publisher
get.
asks me that I say that.
Mhm.
It's so hard to get people to leave reviews.
Yeah.
Especially
Yes.
positive ones, because you have a good experience, you're just happy and you move on, kind of thing, right? But
Yeah.
if you have a bad experience, you want to go back and make it known. So it's hard to get good reviews. So absolutely.
I haven't looked at reviews lately. I had one in there. I think there's a couple more. I think somebody's left some other ones, but yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
get
no,
you.
I'll pick it up. Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks.
So, kind of going back to the K2 and just paranormal research in general,
Mhm.
can you tell us, maybe highlight a couple of your favorite investigations that have, either impactful or just, really cool evidence, anything like that?
Oh, let's see. The best one has got to be Randolph. I will I will get back again to Randolph. I've been there twice now. The second time I was there, the entity didn't come out and play with me. But I want to take my entire crew out there and just have my crew in the building. I had hunted with some other people and another team, so they're not the people that were trained by me and that sort of thing. So I want to take everybody up there. I want to put a team on third floor, team on second floor, and team on the bottom, team on the basement to see if we can try and get that entity to come back out again. I don't know if I can present. Can I present from here? I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I can present, right? Okay.
If you
I'm
if
not
you can,
100%
there's
sure
a
if you can,
present
but
at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Let me see if I can do that. We
Cool.
used to use StreamYard when we first did our podcast. So,
Oh, nice.
but this was at Randolph, and I was watching this. I had the we had just gotten a thermal imaging camera, and so I took the thermal imaging camera and I was using it, trying to get used to it, and I watched this entire. Where's my extreme evidence? There we go. I had watched the entire thing merge on the camera lens. And let's see if I can make this bigger here.
Yeah, that's one thing that's been on my list to get is a thermal imager.
Oh, I hands down, I would say yes, absolutely, that is what you want, because it definitely paid off for me.
Yeah, I've
on this
borrowed a friend's
investigation.
few times, and I've been impressed with it. I did a lot of work with thermal imaging in the military, so yeah, it's something I've always been interested in.
Okay, so let me find it here. Window. There we go. Okay. Am I sharing? Can you see it?
Let me bring it up.
Yep,
There
you
we go.
Okay. Those are not two investigators at the end of the hallway.
Really?
Yes.
there's definitely two images there.
This originally started to form with a white column coming down the middle of the hallway. There's a guy in front of me saying, Cal, there's nothing down the hallway. There's a guy behind me watching the viewfinder with me. And there's other people on this side going, nothing's down there. Nothing's down there. White column. I'm watching everything through the viewfinder. White column comes down. It splits into two. They turn black. And then they started to form this. And that is the end result of that entire process. And if you'll notice, they have heat signatures.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not people.
Wow.
Isn't that the most interesting thing you've seen?
That is really cool. So it looks like the ambient temperature was 51.8,
Yep.
right? And then these are only showing 60.2. So they're really
Yeah.
The cool thing is like
ambient.
the one on the left you can see through and see the wall behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where if it was a person, you wouldn't see through them.
No,
Right.
it'd be solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I love the flashlight.
I was going to say the one on the right looks like it's holding a flashlight.
I love the flashlight. The only thing I can classify this is a mimic.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's a physical mimic. It's not a verbal mimic. So
what's interesting is the flashlight is putting out its own heat source. Because looking at the scale, the higher up, white is hotter, right? In this image.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that was as white as the column that came down was that white.
Wow.
Isn't that just amazing?
That's pretty cool.
Let me see. There's another one here. Let's see. I don't think I can do this one. I think I got one. Yeah, that was the first one. This is the first one that we started to do. Whoops, too far. And you can see how hot the people are in this one. So let me share this one too. Share screen. Window. There we go. If you could bring that one up. And this one, you can see people have 75.7 degrees.
Yep.
So this is where that thing started to form. This is after it came down as white and split into two black columns.
Wow.
I think I've got like 6 or 7 of that one, but
so it comes down white. So it comes down as hot, splits into super cold, and then goes to two human figures, signatures. But
with varying heat signatures.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that is just.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you explain that, right?
How do you
And that was
explain that?
That was at Randolph, you said, right?
Yeah, that was at Randolph County Asylum up in Indiana.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So the second time we went up there, I tried to get it to come out, but I mean, we were completely set up the exact same way we were the first time, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing I can think of is I didn't do anything back in the oracle room that I had done in the first place. So I might have to do that on the next one. But that was just simply sitting there and talking and using the dowsing rods. I didn't do any kind of Ouija board or witchcraft or anything down there. I don't do any of that on investigations. The next one is was my store with the relocation. I'd never had an object relocate. We have another business that's a client. That building is 200 yards from the start of the Stone River battlefield.
Okay.
Where the battle started, 200 yards.
Wow.
And it's the reason why I took the case, because it was so close to that. And then they are also sitting dead center on the Trail of Tears, the original one. So that's why I took the case, and I went down there, and one of their reports was whistling, and instantly I'm sent to, okay, pipes can whistle. So we get to the location, and somebody flushes a toilet, and I get whistling pipes. I'm like, damn.
Darn it. Yep.
But we keep going, and I'm sitting there with the person that is on my team that works at this business as well, and she said, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "The whistle?" She says, "Yeah." She says, I said, "That's it?" She says, "Yeah. This was entirely different. This was not pipes. This had variance. It had pitch. It had tone. It had human quality to it." So I'm like, why do I have somebody whistling in a building? And my research led to where the soldiers would whistle their positions at night. And so I've got soldiers in this building whistling their position.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's way cool.
The last time we went up there, we've been back twice now. The last time we went up there, my teammate Pamela walked in there to go to her desk, and she heard, "Where's Kelly?" And
Wow.
they have out loud verbalization. So the spirit's like, "Where's Kelly?" Like,
yeah, bring her back. That's awesome.
So we get to go back again.
I'd like to go out, to the battlefield and move position, between positions and like whistle and see if they respond. That would be cool.
Well, the battlefield that they're built on, the portion of the battlefield they're built on it's still commercial property. It's not part of the park. The park doesn't cover everything. So and there was troops all over Murfreesboro. To read the accounts are just amazing. Just amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that would be really cool to hear a whistle. We've gotten some, last place we went out in Kansas, the Whiteface. Yeah, we got some weird whistling. One that almost sounds like a donkey. Yeah, it's really weird. I've never, I haven't been able to place what it is, but like it definitely wasn't any of us.
Well, I've had animals come back. I mean, animals can come back. It could be a donkey.
Yep.
There for a while, I thought that's all we were going to get was animal spirits. We went to 3 locations.
Yeah.
And we got a dog and a cat and a dog, and I was like, okay, so we're going to get all the spirit animals, which I'm good with.
We're going to be the animal whisperers. Yep.
My favorite animal EVP is a cow in birth distress for 9 minutes. The EVP goes for 9 minutes.
Holy cow.
That would be interesting. Cow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I called up the owner. I said, "When was the last time you ran cattle on the property?" She said, "That's been forever." So I was getting some cow
still here.
In birth distress and making
Imagine
a scene.
Being stuck in that loop,
Right. I'm stuck in hell, literally.
Yeah. Poor cow just giving birth over and over, man. Wow. Yeah. That's rough.
No, thank you. It's not fun.
So Kelly, you co-host a podcast as well, correct?
I do, but my it's Cemetery Files was the first one. And
Okay.
Cemetery Files, we put a cap on that one for right now. We may come back with special episodes every now and then, but I feel as though the podcast business is kind of oversaturated and we really didn't have our own individual voice. So we kind of talked about it a little bit. We said, yeah, let's just, take this one out. The Paranormal Triangle, however, that's got its own voice to it. It's three of us. We're gabbing and talking about whatever topic had been picked for the evening. And the one person gets to pick the topic, but nobody else gets to know what it is until the show.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. I have a blast with that show.
Yeah, you get to put them on the spot. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, all three of us on spot. So we end up recording it. We don't do it live. And we put it out, and we're going to have another episode here pretty soon. We've got to figure out another date for it because Jay was sick sick this week. So we didn't get to do it on Monday, but we're going to have another one of the Paranormal Triangle, and we'll have a guest host with us because David's off doing his own things.
So, and I see you guys have a pretty well, at least the Cemetery Files is on, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Cemetery Files, you can pick that up everywhere. We've got a whole year of episodes on that one. I think we did 24, 25, 28. I can't remember how many now.
Nice.
But they're all great shows. I loved every single one of them. I loved doing them, but it was a lot like what other ones were. So I didn't feel as though it was something that we wanted to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
But Paranormal Triangle, it does have its own voice. And that's one that I've listened to on my drives to places, and I end up cracking up.
And where can you find the Paranormal Triangle at?
I'm pretty sure it's on all formats as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And there is no "the" in front of it when you do it. It's just
Paranormal Triangle. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should be up there on all formats. Jay's pretty good about doing that. He's a good podcast host.
Yeah. Nice.
Partner.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's fun.
I enjoy it. Getting to meet everybody in the paranormal field and talk to people.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite
every
part.
week. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to Paracons more for going out and networking than I do anything else.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Unfortunately, as you know, when you lived in California, like so much of this stuff is on the other coast. And for us, I think the closest I've seen at this point is like 13 hours still.
Yeah,
so,
Kansas City, something like that.
We'll get out there and we'll get some people, but it's going to take us a drive.
Well, you guys can head down to Nevada.
Yeah, that's still 13 hours.
Oh, okay. All right.
Even that.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck in that. Yeah, like 12, 13 hours for the closest of anything really out here.
We need to work something out in the Denver area. That's about an hour and a half. So
okay.
We're closer to that.
Well, and they do the oddity conventions and stuff like that down
out there in Denver. I knew people in Nevada. I know people in Nevada, but I don't think I know anybody in Colorado.
There's not many of us out here.
No. All right. Well, Kelly, we really appreciate you coming on tonight. It was a blast talking to you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'm definitely picking up your book, and I will leave a review.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll get you back on, and we can talk about your
the
next new book. Yeah, heck yeah, keep cranking them out.
What we find at Randolph.
Yes, I want to know what you found at Randolph.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
I will. You too.
So as always, another great guest talking to Kelly, and she's great, like a book and the podcast and another book to come.
Yep. On top of, seems like a successful group and doing really cool investigations. And yep. And this is exactly why we do this. We love just meeting people in the field and, hearing their story and seeing what they're doing, the research they're doing, the stuff they're putting out. It's just amazing seeing, the drive that people have in the paranormal field. I love it.
and another Tennessee person. So when we decide
Another
to do Brushy,
Yeah.
Brushy Mountain, and it's big enough, we can get all these Tennessee people together and go to Brushy.
Yeah, we'll just do the Way Out West Tennessee reunion. And yep, Kelly's jumping up and down in the green room. Yep.
She's in the green room like, yeah. So we thank everyone for watching tonight, and we will see you in 2 weeks when we talk to Natalie Jones from Paraflex.
All right. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
The Paranomalies podcast would like to thank Twinkle Twinkle Little Store, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming, for sponsoring our show.